This weekend, I got to compete in an Iron Chef competition. Welcome to Crocs in the Kitchen. I am Brian. Jessica will actually be filming this one, but she will be back for the tasting at the end of this one. And I have brought you a recipe video. Now, keep in mind, this isn't just some normal recipe video. This is the recipe that I actually made while cooking in an Iron Chef competition on Chef AJ's channel against the one and only Giroudi family, aka Brittany Giroudi. And I had an absolute blast doing this thing. And once we got the pictures out there, everybody was saying, Brian, we need this recipe. We need it now. And so that is exactly what I am going to give to you now. All right, so the competition really revolved around 3 different ingredients, and those ingredients were cauliflower, sweet potato, and sun-dried tomatoes. Jessica and Marc beforehand had cooked the sweet potatoes, but we also had raw just in case we wanted to use that for something. The cauliflower was completely raw, and the sun-dried tomatoes were, of course, sun-dried tomatoes. But we had to come up with some type of combination that we could present to people. And during this process, I came up with 2 different recipes that I made, and I am super excited to actually give them to you today. But if you are going to make them, you can make them separately, you can make them together, you can make one, make a different kind of side, make the other, make a different kind of thing. Doesn't really matter to me, but I made them all together on that day, and I thought they worked very, very well together. So let's get to the first recipe. All right, the first recipe I made is super easy, and I thought it came out very, very good. It was honestly so tasty, and I just wanted to eat the sauce just right there in a bowl, but I decided to take it a little step further. But hold up, I totally forgot to say the name of the recipe when I recorded this bit just a couple minutes ago. We are calling this roasted cauliflower with a sweet potato and sun-dried tomato sauce. Back to it. For this recipe, you will need 1 baked sweet potato. Yes, it will need to be baked. If you batch prep a bunch of potatoes for the beginning of the week, go ahead and throw in a couple of these too. Bing, bang, boom, you'll already have one in the refrigerator. It doesn't have to be hot, it can be cold, and in fact, I used it cold on that day. You will also need some sun-dried tomatoes. I had 1 bag's worth for the competition, and for the recipe, I used half of the bag. Watch out, because some sun-dried tomatoes have a lot of sodium in them, so try to find the lowest sodium versions that you can, and of course, do not ever buy sun-dried tomatoes that are packed in oil. You will also need some non-dairy milk. I like to use unsweetened almond milk, and you will need 1 cup of this. Yes, it's a fancy little beaker. I love this thing. But yes, you will need 1 cup of unsweetened non-dairy milk, and do not use any kind of vanilla or any of that. It probably won't come out that, I don't know. Maybe if you want to experiment, you can try it. Maybe it's a breakfast soup or something that'll come out of it. You never know. And the last thing that you will need is a head of cauliflower. This is, of course, raw cauliflower, and we broke it apart into little florets like that. You can make them into bite-sized pieces if you want, but I left them relatively large, so you've got a substantial amount. Not to mention, I think it just holds on to the sauce a little bit better, and it roasts up really nicely when you've got these big chunks. But if you want to do small pieces, by all means do it. You can make the recipe however you like. But we just cut this apart, gave it a good rinse, and that was it. So, let's get to cooking. All right, the sweet potato and sun-dried tomato sauce that will go on our cauliflower is very, very easy to make. It is just 3 ingredients, and you will need a blender. We, of course, have our trusty Vitamix blender ready to go here. I took the cooked sweet potato, and I kind of chopped it up into little medallions. You don't necessarily have to do it. I just thought it might help blend it a little bit better, and that's also what I did in the competition. So why not do it here as well? Next, you will need to put in your sun-dried tomatoes. And then finally, you will need your almond milk. You can add in about 3/4 of it right now and see if how it'll actually blend together, because you want it to be a fairly thick sauce, but you do want it to be a sauce. So if you use 3/4 of it, maybe you need a little more, you can add in more. If you need to go above that, add in above that. If you've got a giant sweet potato and you want to do that, then go ahead and add in a little bit more. But the point is to try and get a fairly thick consistency in your sauce. So I'm going to start with 3/4 of this and then maybe add in the rest once it's blitzed a little. All right, time to blitz this. But of course, if you want to protect your ears, wear protection. But let's blitz it. Yep, let's go ahead and add in the rest of that almond milk. All right, so even with the full cup in there, it is still too thick, so I'm going to add in another 1/2 cup of almond milk to this. It's all about the size of your potato. Remember that. This is what you are looking for, a very thick consistency of the sauce, but still easily pourable and still easily coatable onto the cauliflower. So let's get all this together so we can get to baking. So good. Oh, I love that. Also, if you really wanted to, you could just add more almond milk, or you could add some veggie broth to this, thin it out even more, and then you've got yourself a lovely soup that you can eat with something else. Trust me, it's that good. But I'm going to toss this onto the cauliflower and get to baking. Okay, let's mix this all together. Take your cauliflower, put it into a big bowl, not this bowl. This bowl would not work for mixing very well. This is my handy dandy all-purpose metal bowl. I use this for popcorn, I use this for mixing, basically those two things. And of course, then we have our sauce. Go ahead and just pour that all on. I'm using all of it because I want everything to be really, really well coated, and I want it to get down in all the little nooks and crannies of the cauliflower. So use it all. After that, we will just stir and coat and make sure that everything is well coated. And there you have really well sauced cauliflower. Of course, if there's anything down in the bottom, you can go ahead and eat it. It is just really that good. And even with raw cauliflower, it's just great. But let's get this onto a pan. All right, so during the competition, I just threw this into our air fryer and I cooked it at different temperatures and different times just to get it done as fast as I possibly could. But we are going to get this settled as to cooking times, and we are also going to use our oven as well, so you guys can just bake this in an oven if you don't have an air fryer like ours. If you've got a traditional basket style air fryer, I don't think it's really gonna work for this type of a recipe. You need something that you can fit a tray into, which really, it's not really an air fryer. It's more like a smart oven that also does air frying. But yes, we're gonna cook this in 2 different ways. So you can check the blog post with the recipe and all the cooking times once we actually figure them out here, because this is actually only the 2nd time I've made this recipe. So once we get it figured out, it'll be in the blog post linked in the description below. So let's actually get these suckers baking. So there you have it. We have our roasted cauliflower with a sweet potato and sun-dried tomato sauce. Over here we have the air-fried version, and if I'm being honest, this is the one I'm gonna pick just because I love the little crispy edges that they get, and they just look so good just air-fried on there. But over here we have the equally as impressive oven-baked cauliflower. They just look so good with all the sauce on there, and like they're nice and tender. It's just a great way for them to be. And this can be a main dish, this can be a side dish. It's really depending on what you want it to be. But while this was cooking for the competition, I was like, I got this time on my hands. I might as well do something else while I'm waiting. So I did another recipe on top of this one. So before we actually get to the next recipe, I just wanted to say that I had an absolutely amazing time doing the cooking competition on Chef AJ's channel, the Iron Chef battle. And I had a great time and a lot of fun going back and forth with Brittany. We chatted before and after the competition, and we just talked about how much fun we had doing it. And we both agreed we would love to do it again in the future. Who knows when that'll happen, but hopefully a bunch of other whole food plant-based YouTube stars get on it too and have their own little competitions. But I really would love to get back on and challenge somebody else as well. I gotta say though, Brittany's cheer squad was top-notch and very well organized, but Peef was in charge of my cheer squad, and I really believe that Peef could have done a better job. But I'm not going to hold that against him. He's just a Peef, you know, and Peefs will be the way Peefs will be. But let's get to that recipe. Okay, this second recipe has a few more ingredients, but I promise it is super easy as well. For this recipe, you will need some sweet potato. I peeled this sweet potato and cubed it. You can leave the skin on if you like. I just took it off because I thought it would taste a little bit better, have a little bit better texture for it. You will also need some sun-dried tomato. Now these sun-dried tomatoes have been chopped into fine little bits. I use a little mini food chopper in the video, but you can chop these up with a knife. You can use your food processor. I guess you could use even a high-speed blender or something. Just don't turn it into a powder, but you just want it to be these nice little small pieces that have been chopped up. You'll also need a bag of frozen vegetables. You could technically use whatever kind of vegetables you like, but I really, really like this California blend, which is cauliflower, broccoli, and carrots. Really, really straightforward. Also, it had cauliflower in it, which was one of the ingredients, and I kind of felt like that would be nice to have in there as well. Plus, you will need a can of garbanzo beans, and these have been drained. You can rinse them if you want. You don't necessarily have to, though. Also, I have some brown rice because we had made some brown rice and it was just sitting there in our refrigerator, and I felt like that would be a good addition to the overall dish that was being made. Once again, I totally forgot to say the name of the dish before I actually started it. I'm really bad at this, okay? This is why I couldn't name the dish on the spot when I was doing the Iron Chef competition there. But this is a sweet potato and chickpea hash. I told Jessica I wanted to call it Brian's super awesome hodgepodge thing, but she wasn't going for that. So yes, this is a sweet potato and chickpea hash. Okay, now to finish out the rest of the stuff that you will need for this recipe. You will need some low sodium tamari or some soy sauce or Bragg's liquid aminos, something like that that is a good flavor combination for this. You will also need some garlic powder, some garam masala, some ground coriander, some ground cumin, and some cayenne pepper. All right, let's get to cooking. So here you have all of it. Both recipes all done, nicely prepared and cooked and hot and ready to go. I think this looks fantastic. Jessica did an amazing job plating. I suck at plating. That's just not my strong suit. But she did this, and I think it looks fantastic. You ready to give it a taste, though?
Yes, I'm definitely ready. I mean, I've already tasted it. I got to taste it after the competition the other day.
I'm doing the hash first.
And I was super excited, like, at the end when I finally got to taste it.
So good.
It's so good.
It's got those hits of flavor from the sun-dried tomatoes and the garbanzo beans and then the vegetables and then the sweet potato just adds that element of sweetness on top of it. It just works so well.
Yeah, the sun-dried tomato and the sweet potato, I love the ingredients that she picked. Like, when she emailed over the list of ingredients, because she sent them to me and Brittany's husband, Marc, I was like, yeah, Brian's gonna do something real cool with these ingredients. So I was excited to see, but I also knew that they would be ingredients that you'd be like, wait, there's so many things I could do.
So, all right, you want to get a piece of cauliflower now?
Got a little piece here.
Maybe I can get this one. Help me out there. Thank you.
It's super good. Now, I saw a couple of people ask, like, is the cauliflower crunchy? This is not like a crispy, kind of like buffalo cauliflower type thing. I can't explain it, though. It's like, there is a bit of crunch depending on how long you cook the cauliflower. But that coating and that sauce that went on there. And
so good.
I like it a little bit thicker, like you made it this time. I feel like it's a little bit thicker than when you did the competition.
Yeah, it is. It is a bit thicker.
You can really just play around with how thick you want it to be as far as the sauce goes. But I like it like this because you get those nice, like, sticky bites of it. And it's just like, I don't know, it's like eating... You know, like when you would eat like buffalo wings and they've got like that sticky kind of...
Yeah, it's got a bit of sweetness to it. It's just got a lovely umami flavor from the tomatoes. And then it's got a really nice texture just on the cauliflower itself. All in all, I am super duper proud of this. I would eat this hash for breakfast every single day if I could. And in fact, I could. Because it doesn't have any nuts or seeds in it. It's just all sorts of goodness all packed into one little tiny hash. And I'm super, super proud of both of these dishes.
So this was really good. I'm proud of you, honestly. Like, putting this together, and they had a 30-minute time limit. Like, I think you guys took 32 minutes or something. That's freaking amazing. But I also wanted to say that we are super proud of Brittany and how she did. I'm really excited whenever she gets her taco recipe out. I really want to try those tacos because they looked freaking amazing too.
Yes.
So yeah, I just thought this was a cool little challenge. It was just a nice little, something different, friendly little competition, and I'm excited to see what other guests she gets on there because I know she has some really cool stuff lined up. But it was so cool that you guys were like the first.
Yeah.
You were like the inaugural little episode of the Chef AJ Iron Chef, and I just thought it was such a cool opportunity.
Paving some lovely roads to open up the competition for the whole food plant-based community.
Yes.
So, I do have to say with this, if I'd had a little bit more time for the dish when we first made it, I would have made some type of sauce to go on the hash. Just didn't have time to do it. And so if you want to add on some sriracha or some other type of pepper sauce or something like that, be absolutely perfect.
I don't even think it needs it. I think it's more just really, like visually for the color of the presentation maybe, but I think it's perfect like this.
But yeah, it is absolutely super duper tasty, and that cauliflower, no, it doesn't need anything. It's perfect.
But the moment he finishes making something, he's always constantly thinking like, what can I do different? What can I do next time? And that's exactly where his mind goes, where I'm like, I like it exactly how it is. Just make it for me like this. So that happens all the time with us.
Yeah, I don't think a dish...
got more fur.
I got fur on me. We have dogs, lots of dogs.
There's like fur everywhere.
But I don't think that a dish is ever really done. It's just sort of abandoned. And I'd rather keep trying to tweak stuff and make it just a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. But this is so good, and I am super proud of this. I am super proud of Brittany. I am super happy with all the stuff that we did with Chef AJ. And like I said, I'm looking forward to being on again sometime in the future. But should I get to the close? Okay. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already and click the bell notification that is right next to it so you get notified whenever we post a new video. You can also find us on social media, mainly Facebook and Instagram. And you go on there, you can find all sorts of good stuff, great photos, and usually we tease a lot of things on there of what we're actually making for the kitchen. But you can like and share the video if you so choose. You can get this out in front of a bunch of other people and they can enjoy this recipe as well. But I think that's all I got.
That's definitely all I got.
We will see you next time on Crocs in the Kitchen.
Bye.
Bye.
Did Peep switch to Team Brittany?